Hey everyone, this is part 3 of project 1 and we're gonna do some configurations to our VirtualBox manager, and so let's get started. Alright, so we have a few settings to configure, and this is in VirtualBox and also the host, and then we will rename the server if we have to and promote it so that we can have what's called the Active Directory database in there. So Active Directory will allow you to have users in there, create folders where you can have computers join the server and be allowed to grab things that are shared on the server. So on the instructions here, we have that we have to open the VirtualBox manager, and we're going to have to click on settings and then go to networks, and we want to select attach to host only adapter and VirtualBox host only Ethernet adapter. So we go to the settings here for our server, and the server has to be turned off, powered off. We can go to the network settings and we can say host adapter only, right? Just like it says here, host adapter only or host only adapter. Let's see. All the other settings we can leave alone. We have a virtual MAC address assigned to that network card. And let's see, is there anything else in here? Well, we can remove the floppy from here because we don't really need it. It's up to you, but I would remove it. Under General Advanced, we don't really need this unless we want to, share the clipboard, for example, or drag and drop between virtual machines. So if you have a whole bunch of virtual machines, you can drag and drop files between them. But we're going to do it a little bit harder, where we're going to actually create security groups and things like that. Alright, there's one more thing. There's one more setting here. Let's see, go to File, select Settings. Under Network, Host Only Networks. Let me see if that's an option here. Network, if I click OK and I go back to Settings. Okay, so it looks like we got it already in there, so that should be okay. Alright, so now that we completed this, we can start the server, and let's see what the naming of the server is, and then let's promote it to be able to do Active Directory here. So the server is booting up, and let's see, we're going to do one more thing actually, and that would be to bridge the network controllers here. Okay, alright, so this is fine. Let's go in, and what we do is we go to Input, Keyboard, and you say Control Alt Delete. Remember, our password is capital C lowercase SULB 1949. We go into it. So the first thing I'm going to check is, does this computer have a correct naming? Let's see, I can just click on the Windows Explorer, right click on this PC, go to Properties, and currently the name is just this Win, and it's got some serial number here, so I'm going to change this to be something useful. I click on Change Settings, Change, and I'm going to call this Server 1. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. And then it says that I need to restart, so I'm gonna say restart later, and I'm gonna shut it down. So I go to shut down and just hit continue. Okay, so I renamed the server so it's got a meaningful name, and it's just server 1. And then I'm going to make this other change to the local host. So I'm going to basically grab the 2 network cards, the virtual host network card and my Ethernet card locally, and I'm going to bridge them. So what I do is I go down here to the network icon, I go to Open Network and Internet Settings, I go to, let's see, change adapter options, and I have 3 network cards. I have the VirtualBox network card, that is a virtual card, I have my Wi-Fi, and I have an Ethernet card built into my laptop. I'm just gonna bridge these 2. So what I do is I click on one, I hit the control key, I click on the other, and then I right click on any of them, and I'm going to bridge the connections. Okay, and then I'm going to basically change the properties of the bridge, and I'm going to give it an IP address. So double click the IP version 4, and I'm going to give it an IP address. So remember how my server already has 192.168.1.100. I'm going to name this bridge 192.168.1.99. So let's go back here, 192, let's put the numlocks here, 192.168.1.99. Okay, 255 is the default gateway, the subnet mask is 255.255.255. I'm going to say that the server IP is the default gateway, so 192.168.1.100. Also my DNS server, which I haven't configured yet, but it will be. It's the same server, 192.168.1.100. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click OK. So those are the 2. If I want to bridge my Wi-Fi, I can do also, so that I can go outside the internet from my virtual machines, but I don't really need to do that. I'm just going to stay local. So now I have a bridge, so that means I should have communication between the VirtualBox computers and my Ethernet card. If I put them in a, if I connect them to a switch, for example, or a router, then I should be able to establish some communication with other computers, and those computers can access my virtual machines as well. Later on, we're going to be doing another virtual machine for Windows 10 and another virtual machine for Linux. So we'll be able to talk to those also because of the bridge. All right, so let's see. Okay, so now we're going to promote the domain controller. So the domain structure in Windows servers start off with something called a forest. So you have a forest, and then you have a domain or domains in a forest, and then the domains have domain controllers inside there. So that would be like your primary server that works inside a domain. So for example, a company can have an entire forest, and you can have the East Coast domain, the West Coast domain, the European domain, that kind of thing. And then in the forest, all domains can talk to each other. You can have multiple servers that communicate with each other and have the same data structure, like all the users, all the computers, all the security between servers, and they replicates the data among all the servers. In our case, we're just going to have one primary domain controller server. We don't need to have extra ones or replicate them. We'll have a domain controller, we'll have a Windows 10 client or workstation that connects to the server and accesses data on the server. Alright, so let's boot up our server again. Let's go back to VirtualBox, start our good old server here, and we're going to promote it to become a domain controller. And this should be booting up pretty quickly here. It's actually very quick considering we're only allocating a couple of gigs of RAM and a little bit of hard drive space. Go back to input, insert Control Alt Delete, CSULB 1949. And you can see that the server over here is telling me that it's a standard evaluation and I only have a few days. Let's see, Windows Admin Center. Oh yeah, there's a new tool here called the Windows Admin Center. And let's see if we can explore that one later on. But for now, let's take this off. I want to show you that message again here. So Windows Server 2019 standard evaluation. You have 180 days to evaluate it. And so we have a few days to make sure we complete this lab. Alright, so this pops up every time you reboot the server. And this server manager is going to allow me to convert this server into the primary controller or the domain controller. So we'll create the forest, we'll create the domain controller. So let's add a role and features. Okay, we'll click next. This is going to be a role base or feature based installation. We got the server name in there. Okay, and we want to do Active Directory Domain Services. Okay, and you click, and then that's going to install this other extras automatically. Just click Add Features. At this point, let's see, we might as well add the DNS server, and we might as well select the file and storage services so that it can become a file server. So storage services is install. We'll just do a plain file server. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? How about print server? And remote access server. Actually do a remote desktop services. So remote desktop services allows users to access virtual desktops and remote app. Okay, we don't want to do that. We just need to have remote access on the server. We don't need this one also. So remote access is already part of the server. We don't need to worry about enabling it. But it is one of the requirements to remote from the Windows 10 machine into this Windows server remotely. So I'll show you how to activate that. And then we also have this web server, but we can do that one later on. And I don't believe there's anything else that we need to turn on over here. We'll click next. And over here, I don't believe that there's anything else. The group policy management is good to have. That's going to allow you to create things like I want to map a network drive with this drive letter, like, you know, I want to map the N drive or the P drive or S drive or Z drive or whatever. And we have the remote server administration tools. This is good. Let's see. This one we don't really need it, so that's good. And let's see, what else do we have here. There's other clients, we don't need that. There's PowerShell, backup. So there's quite a lot of servers in here, but we don't need to do any of that. So let's click on next. The whole thing with Azure, it's a new, well, not new, but it's a service from Microsoft, and allows you to do things like the ability to have a cloud-based authentication method, basically. But we don't need to do that. We're going to be doing all locally using the Active Directory domain services. So we will have our own authentication locally. This is for huge companies that people need to access these services remotely from another continent, and it's easier to authenticate via a Microsoft-based single sign-on than to come back to a server here, for example, and try to authenticate. So it's a service that Microsoft provides. Click next, next, next. So we have our print server. Let's see, to install the following roles, yeah, rebooted is fine. And you can export the configuration settings if you want to, so that if you want to just put it on a PowerShell script, remember our friend PowerShell where we went to the command prompt? That's what this is for. But I'm just gonna use this tool right here to do it. But let's look at this real quick. Oh, that will be, it'll create a file, and then the file will have basically the script that allows for the installation of this whole thing. But like I said, I'm just gonna run it right here and let it install automatically. And you can see that it started already. Right up here you have the status, and it says that you can close it and move on to doing some other things. So while this is working in the background, why don't we minimize the server, and why don't we start configuring a workspace here, a virtual machine for our Windows 10 computer that we're gonna need, our workstation. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back to how we did the server. I'm gonna say new, and I'll just call this one Windows 10, and it's a Windows 10 64-bit. I don't think we have any other options for Windows 10, so it's a Windows 10 64-bit. I'm gonna click next. I'm only gonna give it 2 gigs also of RAM. It's gonna use up a lot of my memory already. And I'm going to create a virtual disk. It's a VDI, virtual disk, and it's going to be dynamically allocated again. And for Windows 10, you know, it says that you should have 50 gigs, so I'll just give it 40. I don't want to use up all my hard drive space here. I'll just say 40 gigabytes, and I'm gonna say create. And so now I have a new computer that I can use with Windows 8. So why don't we make some changes to begin with. Let's go to settings, network. We're going to do the same thing as we did for the other one, host only adapter. And under storage, we're going to say, okay, we can't use this now. Let's say okay. Now I'm going to add the Windows 10 ISO so that when I boot this machine, it allows me to boot up from the Windows 10 ISO. So I'm gonna go here to the menu and say media. I mean, you can also go to file and say virtual media manager like we did before. And we have a server 1 VDI. Actually, these are our hard drives our virtual hard drives that we created. This is neat. It tells you how much you've actually used. Right, so this is a good way to keep track. But let's go to our optical disk, and this is where we're going to mount another one. So why don't I say add, and we're going to add our ISO for Windows 10, which is right here under our Project 1 folder of our memory stick. There's our Windows 10 ISO. Click OK, and I'm going to click close. Okay, and I'm going to come here to my Windows 10, and let me see if there's a way to select it here. Let's see. No, there is no way to select it. Well, it might ask me which one I want as soon as I start it. So let's start it up. It should ask me what ISO do I want to use. Here we go, perfect. Yes, I want to use the Windows 10 ISO. Thank you. And this is going to allow me to configure a Windows 10 machine while my server is being upgraded here to a domain controller. Okay, so it looks like installation succeeded. Let's click on close. It's probably gonna want to reboot. Okay, good. I came over here to this flag and it says, hey, do you want to promote this server to a domain controller? Okay, so I'm gonna say yes. Okay, select the deployment operation, and this one is gonna say add a domain controller to an existing domain. Nope, we're actually creating a brand new forest, and we're gonna do install now. In the meantime, let's take a peek at what's going on here. Okay. Alright, so on this one, you say I don't have a product key. We are going to install Windows 10 Pro. I believe those are our only options here that are good. Yeah, Windows 10 Pro is what we want to use, because Windows 10 Pro allows you to connect to our domain controller here, allows you to connect to the server. This Windows Home versions do not allow you to connect to a domain controller. Education they do, Pro does, all of these ones do. So, but we'll pick the generic Pro. Click accept license. Okay, we'll do a custom install and we'll say next. Okay, we'll let it install. It's probably gonna be very quick. It's going along pretty well here. Okay, let's go back to our Windows 10 server then and see what we can do. Input, Control Alt Delete, CSULB 1949. Okay, waiting for the server manager to come up. Okay, we gotta try that tool. Let's see. Okay, DNS is working. Let's promote it again. a domain controller. No, this is a forest. Okay, it's still running. So I'll just call it domain walter.com. Actually, this is the first server, so I'll just call it server1.walter.com. In the meantime, let's see how our Windows 10 machine is doing. Seems to be doing pretty well. Let's get in there. Alright, going back to the server then. We have domain capabilities. Let's see. Yeah, so again, this is gonna ask for a password. We'll just use the same password. Okay, CSULB 1949 with a capital C. Okay. Parent zone cannot be found. Okay. Or it does not run. If you're integrating with an existing Linux, you should manually create a delegation for this server. No action is required. Okay. I don't need to do that. So just click next and verify the NetBIOS name assigned to the domain. And so this will be the NetBIOS name. This is the local name that machines can find the server by this name locally. And I'm just gonna call it server 1. Oh, okay, so the server name is already used, so it's it wants to assign another name. This is because we have our domain name as I'm sorry, the server name is already server 1. So why don't we call this server? Actually, this is the NetBIOS for the domain, so this one can actually be the domain Walter. Okay, so let's see. Next. Okay, the sysful, this folders is where all the objects or all the user accounts get stored in. So if you ever need to recover a crash server or a crash domain, this is where you can find some of the data that will help you recreate a server. Okay. Click next. We'll click this one right here. You can click next, or check this out. This is the PowerShell script that can create your entire domain. So what this says here is, hey, let me use these modules here, right? So this is the module for ADDS deployment and the ADDS forest. Create a DNS delegation? No, because we are the delegation. And it gives you what the domain name is, which is server1.walter.com, or you can also access the domain by the NetBIOS name Walter. Okay. So instead of running it on PowerShell though, I'm just gonna click next and let it run via the graphics screen here. Okay, it's verifying the prerequisites. Sometimes you'll see that it needs some other things installed before it can proceed. But let's see if we have everything that we need already. Okay, so while that is checking, because it might take a little while, let's look at our Windows 10 machine and see how it's doing. Okay, so let's start with the region, United States. Keyboard layout, US. This is the latest Windows 10, by the way. This is the latest version that Microsoft came out with. Want to add a second layout? No, I do not. I actually haven't even seen these prompts before for the latest Windows. Alright, so while that configures, let's go back to our server. Alright, so here we go. Okay, blah blah blah. Delegation cannot be created, that's fine. Prerequisites check. Okay, so it looks like we're ready to do it. So let's click install. Okay, we'll let it go through its settings and configurations to create this server domain controller. And let's go back to our workstation and finish that one up. Let's connect to the network. I'll just say I don't have internet because I do not want to connect this to the internet. Continue with limited setup. That's fine. I just want a virtual workstation that I can do some testing on. This is what this is. The name of who's going to use this, I'll just say Walter for now. Create a super memorable password, the same one, CSULB, capital C, CSULB 1949. Confirm it, yep, CSULB 1949. Security questions for this account, wow. I didn't know I was going to ask so many things. Alright. Is there a way to skip this? Probably not. So, pet name. I'll just have the same answers for everything. CSULB. Question number 2. Childhood nickname. CSULB. Hopefully it allows me to do it. Security question number 3. Oldest cousin. CSULB. So no matter what question it is, CSULB will be the answer here. Alright, so what is happening with our server? Let's take a look. They're both configuring right now, so that's good. So our server is being configured. And our workstation is also being configured. Here we go. All these privacy settings, just click no on all of them. Otherwise it tracks a lot of the things that you're doing. So let's see, device history, no. Not now. But Cortana is pretty neat. It's a voice recognition system. Alright, server is still being configured. Right, so I'm running a server, I'm running a Windows 10 virtual machine, and I'm running Windows 10 on my own computer in the back here. So now I'm running 3 different operating systems here. And then we're going to add one more, which is a Unix-based operating system, but I think that's Lav 3 or 4, so that one's going to take a little bit of time. Alright, so let's see what happens from here. It might take several minutes, it says. So let's take a break here, see what happens. now we have, looks like we have our Windows 10 machine running already. And let's see if we can figure out the name of the machine. If not, we can always rename it right now. Let's go to properties. Yep, so why don't we rename this machine right now? Let's click on change and then just call it Windows 10. Okay, it's gonna reboot it. Alright, because according to our instructions we are to name it Windows 10. Okay, and our good old CSULB 1949. Let's see how our server is doing. That one's still applying settings. It's probably gonna take a while. Okay. So the next thing is we want to change the IP address of this computer. So we'll right click on the little network address here. Go to Ethernet. Change adapter settings just like we did for all the other ones. Go to properties. We'll go to the TCP/IP version 4. And this one is 192, say numlock 192, 168. Start from here, 192, 168, 1 dot. Let's see, the server is 100, the bridge is 99. This one should be 101. Okay. Say 192, 168, 1. Our server is 100. And our DNS server 192, 168, 1.100. Right, which is being configured right now as we speak. Click OK. Alright, so do you want your PC to be discoverable? Yes. Alright, so in our next video I'm going to show you how to join this computer to our server. It looks like the server is up and running now. So in the next video I'll show you how to join this machine to the server. Okay, so we have our server and we have our workstation running. Alright, so that's it for now.